Before we start this video, guys, I just want to thank Andrew. He's a mod on my Discord and coded all of this code himself, and then very generously gave it to me to make a tutorial for you guys. So thank you very much to him, and enjoy this tutorial. Hello guys, and welcome back to another Minecraft mod tutorial. In today's episode, we're going to be doing custom doors, so let's get started. First things first, we need to declare it in our block init class. Public static final block calls copper door, or whatever type of door you want to make, is equal to a new block door base. Gonna need the name copper door, and we'll come back and do the other parameters later. So hover over this, create class, and put it in dot blocks. It's going to extend block door and implement iHasModel. Import block door, add the constructor, and another parameter it wants is the material, so add string name in there. And then we're also going to want the creative tab, go into block base, copy everything from here, and then save and go back into block init. Add the other parameters and choose your material. If your material is iron, then you will require it will act like an iron door in normal Minecraft, where you have to put a redstone signal through it to open it. Any other material will work like a normal wooden door and will open when you right click on it. So even though mine is a copper door, I'm going to make it so it's right clickable. Material, let's do anvil. Because if we look in block door, on block activated, where you right click on the block, if the block material is material to iron, return false, as you can't open an iron door. Finally, main.tutorial, and change visibility of it to public. The next thing we need to do is change this. We're not going to be doing a normal item block. There is actually a lot of code involved in the item block for the door. So change it to item block door, create class, and put it in blocks.itemblocks. This is going to extend the normal item block, so we're obviously going to have to add the constructor. Then there'll be two functions in this class. One default Minecraft function on item use. So this is when we place down the block, and then we're going to create one of our own functions that is going to be used inside of here. But let's write this function first. If facing is not equal to enum facing.up, when we create our block, our door block, we're only going to place down the bottom half, and this on item use function is going to create the top half of it for us. So it wants to be facing upwards, as that is where the top half of the block is going to be placed, above the current block. So else iBlockstate is equal to worldin.getBlockstate. So we're going to call this bottom door state, as that is the block state of the bottom door, the bottom part of the door. Then we're going to get the block of that block, bottom door block is equal to bottom door state dot get block. Then another check if not block dot is replaceable for world in and pos. Pos is equal to pos dot offset facing. Item stack stack equals player dot get held item in hand. Import item stack player dot can player edit pos facing stack, and this dot block can place at world in pos. Enum facing is equal to enum facing dot from angle player dot rotation yaw. So this is actually the player facing here. The direction that the player is facing, it gets which way they're facing from the rotation of the player. Int x is equal to the x coordinate of this player facing. Player facing dot get front offset x. Int z is equal to player facing dot get front offset z. Boolean flag is equal to x is less than 0 and hit z is less than 0.5f, or x is greater than 0 and hit z is greater than 0.5f, or z is less than 0 and hit x is less than 0.5f, or z is greater than 0 and hit x is greater than 0.5f. A flag is basically just a long list of checks that it has to pass one of them in order to run something, which in this case is going to be the placeStore function. So call the function placeStore world in pos player facing this.block flag. So now we're going to go and create this placeStore function, hover over it and click create method, make it a private static void. This pos here is the position of the bottom door, this block here is the full block door, and this flag is the isRight hinge check. Most of this function is going to be about checking if this is isRight hinge. Basically this is all about rendering the door in the correct way. So block pos y clockwise equals bottom door pos dot offset by player facing dot rotate y, and then the next pos is going to be the anti-clockwise version, and this is going to be rotate y ccw. Then we're going to create two integers for calculation that use these two block poses to calculate the correct way to render the door. So int I equals world in dot get block state for pos y anti-clockwise dot is normal cube question mark 1 colon 0. What this means is if this statement here returns true, then we return the value 1. If not, we return the value 0. And then plus world in dot get block state, and this is going to be pos y anti-clockwise dot up, so the block above, as that's where the second bit of the door is going to go, dot is normal cube question mark 1 colon 0. So this value here could return 2 if both of these return true, 1 if only one of these returns true, or 0 if neither of these return true. Then int j is basically going to be the exact same thing, except it's going to be clockwise. So it's working out the best way to open the door. And then finally, we're going to create two more flags. Boolean flag equals world in dot get block state pos y anti-clockwise dot get block is equal to door, or the same thing but up is equal to door, and then flag 1 is going to be the same thing just for clockwise. Now we have all those flags, we can create some if statements to check if it's a right hinge or not. If double open brackets not flag or flag 1 and j is less than or equal to I, then we can go on to another if statement. If flag 1 and not flag, or j is less than I, is right hinge equals false, else is right hinge is true. Now we've calculated whether it's a right hinge, we can now actually place the top bit of the door in the world. Block pos top door equals bottom door dot up, bottom door pos dot up. We'll call this top door pos. Then boolean flag 2 is equal to world in dot is block powered bottom door pos, or world in dot is block powered top door pos. What it's saying is if either of these are powers, but either of these have redstone power, then the door is going to open no matter what. If it's an iron door or a wooden door, whenever they receive redstone power, they open, and then it'll render in a different place. So now we can actually get the full door as a iBlockstate. iBlockstate door state is going to be equal to door dot get default state, and then we're going to have lots of different properties. Dot with property block door dot facing, and it's going to have our facing value, the actual player facing. Dot with property block door dot hinge. So if is right hinge is true, you can just write is right hinge. Either it's going to be a right hinge, block door dot enum hinge position dot right, or block door dot enum hinge position dot left. Next, dot with property block door dot powered, and that's going to return boolean dot value of, and we have to just rename this to powered. And then dot with property block door dot open is going to return the same thing as if it is powered, it will also be open. And that is our door state. You can leave it like this in this formation, or you can just backspace it and make it all one really long line. And now we need to place the door down. World in dot set block state bottom door pos door state dot with property block door dot half block door dot enum door half dot lower. Then the same thing, except it's going to be top door pos and it's going to be upper. So it places both parts of the door. And then we notify neighbours of state change. So world in dot notify neighbour of state change bottom door pos door false, and once again world in dot notify neighbours of state change top door pos door false. And that is all that code done. So it checks how it's going to place the door. It then gets all the properties and then places each part of the door. Then back in the on item use, the next thing we need to do is make the door play a sound. Sound type sound equals block dot get sound type bottom door state world in pos and the player, import sound type, and then play a sound. World in dot play sound player pos sound dot get play sound sound category dot blocks, and then the two values I'm going to bring in here are copied straight from the door class. So we get the volume, add 1 to it, and then divide it by 2, so it's going to be slightly lower. And get the pitch, it's going to be multiplied by 0.8, so that's also going to be a slightly lower pitch. Then final thing we're going to do, we're going to obviously shrink the stack dot shrink 1 and return enum action result dot success, else return enum action result dot fail. And that is all the item block door done. Now back in block door base, we're going to have to make sure it drops the full door itself. Get item dropped, as actually the top door bit is its own block. We want to drop this return item.getItem from block this, and get pick block. We're going to return a new item stack this. Finally, we can go into block base, copy register models, and save this class. And that's all the code for the door done. Now we have to go on to the incredibly complicated, well, not complicated, just really, really long block state. I'm just going to copy this in here, and then I'm going to explain to you everything that's happening. So here it is. As you can see, there are a ton of different variants. So there's the facing direction, so there are 4 different options for facing. There's which half of the block it is, so half equals lower, half equals upper, so that's 2. Hinge equals left or hinge equals right, that's another 2. Open equals false or open equals true, that's another 2. And powered equals true or powered equals false, that's another 2. So it's going to be 4 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Which is 64 different variants here. And for that we have 4 different models. The copper door bottom, this is the left hinge, then the copper door bottom with the right hinge, copper door top with the left hinge, and then copper door top right hinge. And then each of these have different facings where they rotate around the y-axis. So obviously that will all be on my GitHub, which you can find a link to down below. I'll also post a paste bin if any of you want to copy it from there. So we have the item texture here, which is just a little mini door drawn, and I've just used the same iron. I've used the iron door texture and just gone over it with an orange shade for copper. Then the bottom's orbit, which again I've got from the default textures, and the top door. Save the top and bottom door inside of your textures, and you save it in your blocks folder, and save the item icon in the items folder. So now we're going to do the block models. You can copy off copper block and rename it to copper door bottom. This is going to parent off of block door bottom, and it's going to have 2 textures, one called bottom, rename it to tutorial :blocks / copper door bottom, and one called top :blocks / copper door top. Then copy this and rename it to _RH with it, and change the parent to door bottom RH, and you can leave the textures the same. Then change this to copper door top and rename it to door top, the parent, and leave the textures the same, and then top RH. Rename the parent to door top RH and leave the textures the same. Once you've done all of that, you can now run the game. So we go in here, we have our door, the copper door with the icon that we created. Place it down, and it will place. Right click and it'll open. We can place it a different way, and it'll open a different direction. It might, as you can see, the facing works perfectly. And occasionally it'll be a right hinge, occasionally it'll be a left hinge. So everything should be working. As I said before, if you want it to be redstone powered, just make the material iron. So thanks for watching, guys. My name's been Harry, and goodbye.